Are you always coming up with ideas? Do you marvel at successful business owners? Do you hate being told what to do? Ever take things apart just to see how they work? Are you a dreamer? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, this podcast is for you. Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. But first, a word from our sponsor.
Pro Tapes and Specialties is the world leader in tape manufacturing and specialty conversion with over 40 years of experience. In addition to our pro brand of high-quality specialty adhesive tapes, we provide contract converting services that help improve your profitability, streamline your supply chain, and reduce inventory cost. We offer the most complete range of converting capabilities in the industry, such as cloth tape, double-coated tape, specialty tape, paper tape, masking tape,
vinyl tape, carton sealing tape, adhesive transfer tape, duct tape, foam tape, electrical tape, filament tape, foil tape, reflective tape.
And the tape just keeps on rolling. Visit us online today at www.protapes.com or call us at 800-345-0234. Pro Tapes, it's just how we roll.
Welcome to another fantastic episode of the Entrepreneurial Enclave, Life's Coming Attraction. I am your host, Kevin Wortham. Listen, we have been doing good for, the past couple of weeks. I've been interviewing a lot of my former classmates and colleagues while I was at the University of Pittsburgh, and I'm going to do this one more time. My brother KJ is on the other line. Talk to me, brother. How are you?
Hey, Kevin. Good afternoon, man. I'm doing well. Thank you for including me in your podcast.
Absolutely. I had to have you because it's like every time I interview someone from Pittsburgh, it's like, yo, you got to get KJ. I'm like, okay, I got him. And so I've been following you for quite some time since you and I have been friends on Facebook. And man, I am most impressed by the work that you are doing in the automotive industry, particularly the truck industry. So just tell us a little bit about that, man.
Yeah, man. I guess you can take it back to Pitt and before Pitt.
Yes.
I'm what's considered a car guy. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the cars and automotive and mechanics and all that stuff. I mean, going back to since I was able to say the three-letter word car, bro. That's just been my thing, you know?
Yes,
so, as life goes on and you decide what do you want to be when you grow up and all that kind of thing, I just wanted to, in some way, have a career or be part of the automotive industry in some capacity. I figured that's what I could possibly be good at and all that kind of stuff, man. So, by the grace of God and knowing the right people and all that stuff, I was able to get involved with automotive professionally, and it's just kind of ramped up and taken off. But I started out on the car side of automotive. I've technically only been doing truck for about 8 years now.
Okay. So, because you're now, what's the company that you're with now?
I'm with MotorTrend.
MotorTrend
is, people should be familiar with MotorTrend by way of MotorTrend magazine.
Yes.
And MotorTrend now is a brand that encompasses 4 magazine titles or 3 magazine titles, MotorTrend magazine, Four Wheeler magazine, and that's the truck group that I'm involved in.
Yes.
And Hot Rod magazine are the flagship books. But beyond that, MotorTrend television on your DirecTV and, your cable channels, and MotorTrend Plus, which is the online outlet for original content, etc. So MotorTrend is a big deal. It's part of Warner Discovery, Warner Brothers Discovery, and I've been there going on 20 years now, believe it or not. Now, 20 years is by way of previous companies that eventually have become Warner Brothers Discovery. They've had other names and such, but it's always been, it's been automotive. And finally, at this juncture, it's MotorTrend that I'm with. But the outfit I've been with for 19 years.
Wow. So what's your day-to-day responsibility? I see you sometimes live on Facebook. I see you sometimes where you're in front of the camera. So what's your day-to-day responsibility?
My day-to-day responsibility, I'm a senior content producer
Yes.
in the MotorTrend truck and off-road group. So in quick English, and I've become kind of adopted a hashtag for it. I play with trucks, man. Hashtag I play with trucks.
I love
what
it.
I do is evaluate new and late model consumer pickup trucks, like your Chevy Silverados, your Ford F-150s, F-250s, Ram 2500s, 3500s, 1500s, etc. I evaluate new trucks. I modify older trucks, parts and products that are produced for pickup trucks. We put them on trucks and just give reviews and such like that. And that also includes doing video stuff about trucks or about parts and sharing some of my experiences with things I'm doing with trucks. So I'm a truck guy at this point as far as professionally, and producing content about pickup trucks is my primary occupation, basically.
Now, if I didn't know you, I would say you don't even sound like a brother. That sounds no. Listen to what I'm saying, and that's not to be any shade. I'm just saying that I know black and brown folks. We love our trucks, we love our cars, but I have never met anyone in the industry as high as you doing what you do. So in your space, do you see other folks like you that look like you?
Nah, man, that's been something that's been part of my career for the 19 years that I've been doing it. When I was on the automotive side, I worked for a title of a magazine called 50 Mustang and Super Fords magazine. It was dedicated to late model 1979 to present Ford Mustangs, an enthusiast magazine. And it's basically gearheads and hot rodders and stuff, and people that like the cars and like to modify them and such. And I was a senior tech editor of that magazine, based on my knowledge and experience with them, et cetera. But in that space, you got to look at automotive overall, man, not just trucks. Trucks is really dynamic, but even in that space, we're very, 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 very short represented in those avenues from the editorial standpoint, and especially from a managerial standpoint, et cetera. So, yeah, I've been traveling, if you will, kind of solo or in a very, very limited number for most of my ride. And then when I got on truck, that was a really big deal. And, you know, it's a great hobby and they're a great platform. But from an enthusiast standpoint, we don't present ourselves as truck enthusiasts or people who want to get involved in writing about trucks or, you know, working with them at the level that I do. So I've been solo for a long minute, but the thing is, even being solo for a long minute, I've been able to persevere through this predominantly white avenue and really reach high levels in it, man. And that's based on just grit and hard work, et cetera, and positioning myself in a space where I won't go out and say I'm the quote unquote best at it, but I've made myself good enough to really not be messed with.
Man, listen, you sound like a guru enthusiast to me. So, but you know, because again, you know, part of the platform is we're talking about in the space that you're occupying. Are you trying to do anything to bring about change where they're looking at more people like you to bring into the company, to bring into the fold?
Oh, I certainly have. I personally try to welcome any young brother or sister who has automotive chops or has automotive interest that wants to get into it. I'm the first one to say, let me be of whatever assistance I can be and whatever kind of mentor I can even be to bring more folks up into it. But as you said, it still is a very, very small cluster of brothers and sisters who are even interested in cars. You know, our stereotype has been for the longest time, ball sports, if you will, and entertainment and all that kind of thing. That's what we do. You know what I mean? So even growing up, I wasn't really supposed to dig cars just in the neighborhood I grew up in, but I was able to support my interest in cars by way of being able to play ball, you know, having enough talent and enough interest in participating in athletics, et cetera. So playing both sides of the fence is what got me over and got me through the window. You understand what I'm saying?
Got you.
So,
Got you.
so I am definitely of the attitude that there definitely needs to be more. And today, by way of the quote unquote influencer versus the magazine editor or the person that I started out to be in this industry, influencers, that's more of, I guess you could say, an easier entry, because an influencer, you're making yourself. You don't need to be dependent on an editor-in-chief or someone like that to bring you in. You
Yes.
just go out there and build your content and do it. And if it's interesting and compelling enough, bam, you've made yourself. So there are some young cats who are doing that, and they're doing pretty well at it. I'm actually proud of them. A couple of them I've got to meet at various events and such, and we're starting to build a network, in that attitude. So hopefully, because we're getting farther beyond your traditional, especially your traditional print magazines, but
Yes.
even the online space is growing so much. There's definitely there's optimism that Black Americans can foster in that profession.
But in that space, as an influencer, though, isn't there, or does there need to be a certain amount of credibility that one needs to have to be an influencer, particularly
100%.
around cars and trucks? Because I mean, it's not like you're talking about just fashion. This is
Right.
something where, in my mindset, it's like you really have to know your nuts and bolts about this thing.
You do,
Yeah.
but it's easy enough. Easy enough. With dedication, you can learn about anything, Kevin.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And that's really, really it. Dedication is what got me. Dedication and interest is what got me, into cars and trucks. And case in point, when I was on 50 Mustang and Super Fords for 10 years. That
Yes.
was my job, senior tech editor. And people say, because I won't say this about myself, but people say I was like savantish about late model Mustangs. I knew a lot about them and and that kind of thing, But you call it overnight. I come into work, and the title I was with, 50 Mustang and Super Fords, business decision was Bloodbath. They rolled the magazine up. They just overnight, if you will. So they rolled the magazine up, but moved me into another brand within the company. So I didn't get laid off. I saw my colleagues and friends
Yes.
pretty much all get laid off, and I was the sole survivor. And that was fine. But then here comes this opportunity with the truck group.
Yes.
And to be quite candid with you, I had done 10 years and devoted my life to late model Mustangs. I knew about trucks, but the position was as the editor, and that's the boss, the
Yes.
editor of Diesel Power magazine. And Diesel Power, going back to, white and black and such,
Yeah.
for all intents and purposes, I'll say it's a white magazine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
And they make this brother the editor, but that was based on my experience as an editor of a magazine. The subject matter is like, okay, like I just said,
Yeah.
I'll learn about it. And my attitude was, let me become as good or better in truck and diesel
Yes.
as I was in Ford and Mustang. And that, if you work at it and try to learn it and get with the right people, you can do it. So for influencers, yes, for any type of a media, credibility is it.
Gotcha.
If you don't have credibility, or if you can't have credibility, you don't belong in the business, because nobody's gonna tolerate a bullshit artist. Bottom line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to be able to present it in compelling fashion, present your information in compelling fashion. And also, one of the sticklers, especially as an editor,
Yes.
is to make sure that things are on point, things are accurate. And when that's in place, your following comes, because people know that you can be counted on to give them the correct information.
Got you. Now, I want to take a break real quick. I want to share with you a quick story. I want to ask you a question about a truck, and then we're going to move on. Here,
Okay.
Close your eyes, if you will. Can you imagine me in a Ford 650, right? You know what the
I do, yeah. It's a big rig.
Yeah, with a cigar, right? I've got a Labrador in the back in the open bed, right? And we muscling down the highway. That's always been my dream truck, man.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, I mean, that's a bad dude. You know what I mean?
right.
An F650, F650, power stroke diesel, sitting up high.
Yes, sir.
That's a king of the road right there, man.
Yeah.
So I can close my eyes and see. I can see that with my eyes wide open, bro.
Yeah, I got my dual winch in the front and the back. I'm ready to pull anybody out the water, the snow. Me and my dog.
There you go. There you go. That's what's up. That's what's up.
So now, with you being on the truck side, and thank you for just allowing me to dream, but you being on the on the truck side, right? What's the latest truck that you had a chance to review?
Oh gosh, that's funny. The latest one that I reviewed.
When we talk about trucks, are we also talking about trucks and SUVs as well?
SUVs are included, and actually vans are included, but I don't do much in those areas. SUVs would pretty much the big frame SUVs like your Suburban, and Ford Excursion and Cadillac Escalade. I've driven those and done first drive reviews. And by the way, let me go ahead and get that out. People can find my content, if you will, on MotorTrend.com or TruckTrend.com. If you just basically dial up MotorTrend.com, there's a menu off to the upper left corner of the screen. And if you click on that, you'll see a tab for Truck Trend. And if you go into Truck Trend, that's where you find my stories and you can really see what I'm doing and what I'm writing about. And this is like really a weird thing, not to go far off tangent, man, but since I've been on this ride, man, the weirdest thing ever has been being able to be Googled. So if anybody Googles KJ Jones, letter K, letter J, J-O-N-E-S, I'm the first one that comes up.
Wow, that's all right.
Yeah, it's pretty scary, bro. That's scary, but I also put it on that testament to just, a guy doing his job and doing it decent enough to be at that level, man. That's it,
So,
for sure. But going back to last thing I drove, I went on the Toyota Tundra drive that was really pretty good. We went up to Monterey and drove trucks around Monterey in different disciplines, off-road and then on street, towing, etc. So that's the last one I did. Caveat, I just got back from Detroit, and this wasn't a manufacturer drive, but there's a company called Magna International, and that story should be hitting the website pretty soon. But Magna International has been inviting me to come evaluate and drive their electric EV modifications for 3/4 ton 2500 series trucks. So that's been really neat to drive some new technology, and it's technology that's coming to the front day by day.
Now, speaking of EV, have you looked at or have you test drove the Hummer?
No, but our group has. One of my teammates went to the Hummer drive, and that's what happens. The manufacturers invites members of our group to come and drive as part of the media. There are these things called media drives. I call them fly me outs. In my house, they're called fly me outs because the manufacturer flies me out to their event.
Got you. And they pay for everything?
Yeah, they pay for everything. Yeah, that's part of the gig.
And so one of these drives could be what, 1 day, 2 day, 3 days?
Exactly. The Magna deal I just did was in 1 day and out the next day, but sometimes they can be 3 days depending on where they are. I mean, in some of the foreign manufacturers, especially on the car side, and my colleagues at MotorTrend proper, they go around the world. Volvo will, send people to Switzerland to drive a new Volvo in snow. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, that type of thing happens. And I've been, based on doing just this job with truck, all over the country, playing with trucks, man.
I love it. Now, so let's say, for example, you've got a 3-day media drive, right? Now, are you allowed to put the truck up on hydraulics and take the wheels off and tires and take it apart? Are you allowed to do that to get a better sense?
No, we don't do that. But what the manufacturer will do as part of their presentation is have like a cutaway truck, a complete cutaway of the truck or the engine, and something that will give us an opportunity to examine those pieces that are beneath the skin, if you will, that you can't see, just so we can get an idea of where things are positioned or how they look, just the robustness of a chassis. So that stuff is depending on, I guess, how much I mean, honestly, man, follow the money. How much a manufacturer wants to spend.
Gotcha.
These things can be super elaborate with a complete cutaway vehicle positioned at the event, so you can check it out. And then, of course, engineers are there for us to ask questions and find out things that help us put together our content.
Now, I got one for you, Kay. So let's say you're at this media drive, right? And you're taking the truck through its paces, right? And you and another colleague realize that there's something wrong with the design. Can they say, you know, what's your thoughts, and you make suggestions, you make recommendations? Do they come back and say, you know what, this guy's of credibility, we need to do this to the truck before we release it to the public? Has that ever happened?
Absolutely.
What?
That's part of the media drive.
Yeah.
And just when you build relationships with manufacturers, and not just for auto or truck manufacturers, but also in the aftermarket, people that are making parts, we do stuff like that. But at a media drive, typically you have the drive, and then there's social time, and then there's a dinner. And at the dinner, it's choreographed so that members of marketing or members of engineering, et cetera, will sit at a table with media. And that's part of the deal. Is at dinner, you discuss the vehicle that you just drove. And if you have a concern or you have input about that, they welcome it. And there have been instances where my feedback on the car side, for sure, I don't know how things have gone on the truck side, but for sure on the car side, my input is, in a sense, changed policies where, they've gone back and looked at something and thought that I had a good idea. And certainly people on my team, the same. My boss, he's actually made some very big policy or operations differences with the Jeep brand. So it does happen, definitely.
Whoa, that's all right, Kate. That's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Guy doing his job, Kev. That's all.
Oh my God. So now,
guy doing his job.
So now, have you ever thought about starting your own Facebook page or doing your own social media where you go like behind the scenes, something separate?
It's funny you asked that, man, because I've been encouraged or suggested to do the YouTube page. And the YouTube page, I watch people that I know, some associates who are doing it, and they've got success to the point where they're making revenue on YouTube and all that kind of thing. Yes. And then on social media, Facebook and Instagram, I do have pages, and I do participate on those social media platforms, but not at the level where I guess you could say I'm trying to be the guy. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'm out there and I'm going to give it some content and feed it here and there, but you check it out or you don't. Whereas there are people who are more earnestly and actively participating on it because they quote unquote want those followers. You know what I'm saying? And I don't particularly want those followers because for me, I don't know what they're gonna get me in the long run, and I don't necessarily want anything. You know what I'm saying? And on the YouTube platform, which is really popular and it can be lucrative, apparently, I don't have the time, man. I don't have the time to really feed that machine the way those people are doing it, and I'm just kind of, and that could be to my detriment. It really could. I acknowledge that, man, but I just that's not me, so why try to make it me if it's not? You know what I'm saying?
Now, when was the last time you brought a car home and just let it sit in your driveway and you drove it around for a week or for a weekend?
Oh, dude, that's kind of a funny deal, man, because I've been fortunate and blessed enough to bring home some fantastic vehicles in my career. I've had cars and trucks sitting in front of my house.
Yes.
That cost more than we paid for my house.
What?
My wife and I chuckled about that on several occasions where, if the BMW knew where this vehicle really was. Not to say that I'm in any type of a rundown, ramshackle area. That's not the case.
Yeah.
But the car didn't go to a Beverly Hills address.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I got it sitting out in front of the house of my neighbors. I mean, I'm the guy that the neighbors truly. So is KJ selling crack or something like that, or what's going on? Because damn, he's bringing home some whips that are just out of control. So I've had a lot of cool stuff here, man, and that's it. The manufacturers entrust us enough to take vehicles and drive them for the weekend, drive them for a week, you know, however long we want them in some cases, especially for a new platform. It's not just media drives. We do get opportunities to just go take them and drive them and have fun with them, if you will, but have fun while working with them so that we can put together, you know, it's a trade-off, man. It's nothing in this world is free. Nothing. 0% is free. So the trade-off is, yes, we're hoping that you will do this and hopefully write favorably, but then again, if it's not favorably, it'll be, you know, accurate based on what your position is.
But again, because you've got the credibility, they're trusting the feedback that you're giving.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Cool. All right.
100%. No doubt about it.
So let's take another break. Let's talk about how it all began, right? How did I meet you at the University of Pittsburgh? That's the part we want to talk about, because I can tell you when we first met, I had no idea you were going to be a truck enthusiast, right? And we were going to have such a conversation. But this is fantastic, though, man. So we're going to come back to that. But let's talk about your days at Pitt, though. Did you see yourself doing this, man? Did you see yourself doing this?
No, man. Listen. And that's, you know what? And I'm falling into what I've heard when I've listened to our other classmates on your podcast, man.
Sir. Yes,
you know,
sir.
and trust me, hail to Pitt. We come from greatness, man. Our colleagues and our classmates, based on what I've heard and how they're doing, man, it gives me goosebumps that everyone has reached levels of success, especially on the entrepreneurial levels and doing their thing. Yes. You don't understand the pride that I have for, you know, who we are and what we've done, man. But I'm also in the club of, I have no clue, bro. I ain't know. So I was like, listen, let me get into school somewhere, because that in its own right was, you know, challenging, if you will. So let me get accepted somewhere and plug into this program and hopefully get it done. And I was able to. But initially, man, I didn't go to school to graduate with what I did graduate with until I got into the program. I wanted to be an engineer, an automotive engineer. And basically engine design was what I wanted to specialize in, because I was into building engines and hot rods and horsepower and all that, man. Yes. And I had really good hands through shop class and all that kind of stuff, man. I could build whatever, you know. But in trying to get into engineering schools across the country, not just Pitt, I was getting rejected. I wasn't getting in at all. And I was getting frustrated, you know, and time started running out. The sand was running through the hourglass, because all my friends who were going to school were getting their deals and going to school, and KJ looked like he might go in the Marine Corps or something, you know what I mean? Because you know, the school ain't happening. But I went to Pitt, and on my visit at Pitt, man, I wish I knew this young cat's name, but sat with this admissions dude, and he laid it out. He says, KJ, the reason why you're not getting into engineering, school for engineering, is because your math scores and grades are horrible. And they were. You know, I was not the classroom mathematician. It just bored me. I wasn't into it and all that kind of thing. So that's what bit me. But credit to University of Pittsburgh, this gentleman said, listen, what we'll do is bring you in CAS, College of Arts and Sciences. And bust ass in that, you know, in that curriculum, fix something and get your grades right and do well and build your math up in CAS. And then you can go into the School of Engineering, you know what I mean? Get yourself, just prepare yourself, which is something I should have done in high school, you know what I mean? So prepare yourself and we'll let you in engineering. But KJ said, that's too much school, bro.
Now, KJ, where were you coming from? Where were you going to high school?
It's a hybrid, man. You know, when I got to Pitt, I was from I'm from two different areas, man. from New York. But I spent, I guess, I don't know how many years of my life in Houston, Texas as well. And by the time I was graduating, I was just coming off living in Houston and got to New York. So I graduated from a school in New York, but I lived in Houston like 5 years. You know what I mean? So I had dual homes.
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. And so where did you stay where you were at Pitt?
I was in B. I was in B, two rounds in B and 2 rounds in C.
Wow.
2 rounds in B and 2 rounds in C. And I know that there's a lot of Res folks listening and a lot of Res folks that contribute to the enclave, man.
Yeah.
But man, the Alphabet City wasn't that bad either, man. Especially in C. Especially in C, because you were, living in your own room and all that kind of thing, man. And regardless of where we stayed, bruh, one of the things that the OG said to me, the OG's my dad. I lost him last year, but the OG said, "You're gonna meet your best friends in college."
Absolutely.
And trust me, if that hasn't manifested a million times over, we're not having a conversation right now.
I agree with that one, man. I agree with that one. Did you at any point did you ever think about going to a historical black college?
I did. Based on Houston, man, TSU, Texas Southern, you know what I'm saying? So Texas Southern University was definitely something I had thought about, but they didn't have, and again, I'm thinking engineering, you know what I'm saying? So they didn't have what I needed, what I felt I needed to go forward as an engineer, as a mechanical engineer. So that kind of went off the table. If you will. And Pitt, let me in, but I had to pick a major. That's the thing. And that's where all of this kind of ties together. I got in CAS and it's like, all right, well, what do I like? What can be the alternate? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And this is 100% no joke, man. I was about Pitt football, and I was about the Panthers and about Tony Dorsett.
Yes.
And I looked it up, and Tony Dorsett was a communications major. So I was like, okay, communications, let's go.
Gotcha. What do you say? If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me.
Hey, KJ, let's go. That's how I became a communications major, based on the Hawk.
Got you, man.
Communications, dude. Yep. That was it.
Wow. What would while you at Pitt, what was some of your fondest memories, bro?
Oh man, come on, dude. I mean, shoot. Every day of the week was a fond memory of some sort, man.
I got you. Yes, sir.
I guess what's vivid, you could say it'll probably always be vivid, was just any day coming out of the room. And again, by the time I was in C especially, but B and C, in the towers, coming down from that elevator, man, and hitting that lobby, bro.
Yes.
Because when you hit that towers lobby, bottom line, man, for black students at Pitt, that was the hub, bro. That was the hub.
Come on.
And
yes, sir.
if you needed to, and we're talking, we had no clue a cell phone was going to come out, this, that, and the other. You had to get at somebody. You tacked a little note up on one of those cork boards along the post. And somehow, some way, someone would get that note or see it and get the message to you. And see, for me at that juncture, it's communications. I'm earning as I'm learning. You know what I mean? About you've got classroom, and then you're seeing what you're learning in action by way of how we moved about that one concentrated area, man. So that's always going to be a highlight, and it's something that we're discussing that because my wife and I went back.
Okay.
And it was our first time going, and I had talked up the lobby. I was like, honey, this place was magic. You know what I mean? For us, it was just it was where we were, and we went through, and just to be there and see those rails, and all of us sitting along those rails, going down to the cafeteria. That was man. I'm smiling right now.
Yeah,
man.
and listen, and Kay, I'm doing likewise, brother. Anybody you wanted to meet on the yard, you told them meet me in the lobby, and they knew exactly. Right.
Meet me at the lobby on Pitt's campus. Meet me in the lobby, and if in Pittsburgh, meet me at the Kaufman's Clock.
Yeah. Yeah. And
that was it.
That was the hookup before you went to the party or after the party, you just gathered there to
Yes,
find
sir.
out what's going on, to assess what was the next step. You know, we did that. So
The next step.
that was all right, man. That was all right.
Yes, sir.
So
Absolutely.
So you graduate, and then
Yep.
do you immediately move out to California?
No,
Okay.
I graduated. And my things were starting to fine tune themselves with communications. You know,
Okay.
that's going to be my degree, and I want to get into that as a career. And I kind of honed in on radio and participated in WPTS and WPGH. The school had a radio station that I worked on through my whole 4 years. It was like a little activity, student activity and
Wait,
stuff.
time out.
Yep.
You were at the Pitt radio station?
Yes, sir.
I never knew that, because I forgot the guy. I forgot the guy's name, but I would go over there on Sundays sometimes, and I would take my 6 or 7 house music records with me. On Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I forgot his name. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. WPGH initially, which was the school's AM, and it was an activity, man. That's straight up what it was. And the AM station barely reached the towers.
Gotcha.
It was in what was the student union, and I think when you got to Pitt, we had the William Pitt Union, which was in a sense the new building.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But the old student union was just this ramshackle dump, if you will, that they had this little radio station with a 10 watt, and it had no power. It couldn't get anywhere, man. It was a chump. But as the years went on, our petition to join the FM band was approved, and then the William Pitt Union was built. So they built the state-of-the-art radio facility on the 4th floor of the Pitt Union.
Remember that?
And put the antenna up on top of the Cathedral Learning, and then we were broadcasting to Pittsburgh, to the city, which was really, awesome. And I was fortunate enough to move through the ranks from AM and into the FM. Move up through the ranks by getting professional experience through internships. In the summers, I would go and work at regular radio stations and intern and learn about radio. So I'd come back, not for nothing, as the man. You know what I mean? And they would naturally move me up into different roles. So I ultimately, by the time I graduated, I was the station manager of the FM station.
Wow. Man, the guy's name escapes me right now. It starts with an S. I want to say Sharon. Sharon
could be behind me. I got out in '85, so
okay.
I'm not recalling a Sharon. Sharon, was his last name Whaley?
Yeah, I'm not sure. He hung out with Vernon Kurt. And so a lot of times he would give me an hour just to come on to the radio station, and I would come there on Sunday evenings with my 10 records. Okay. And I would mix those. I would mix those 10 records because he knew I was into house music. And I'm thinking now, my favorite house song that I would always play was dum 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 dum.
Martin Circus.
Yeah.
Martin Circus. Martin Circus. Yes, sir.
Oh my
Martin
God.
Circus.
So now, did you ever think about doing anything with Whammo?
Actually, yeah. During my time at PTS,
yes,
I befriended Alan Harrison. He was the program director at Whammo at the time, and
got you.
I got to know him and the competitive spirit in me. And kind of on a brother-to-brother thing, said, hey, you know what, we're in the space too, and my mission is to kick your ass. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I mean? We're all out there for ratings. Arbitron ratings were the thing at the time, and I felt that there was no reason why WPTS couldn't get Arbitron ratings just like all the rest of the radio stations in Pittsburgh. So it was really about honing our team and our staff to, despite this being a student activity, let's try to really be as professional sounding and professional acting as we can, you know what I mean? And try to at least make a blip on that Arbitron space and versus not make any impact at all. I got to meet Alan Harrison. He was programming, and I did, in an effort to stay in Pittsburgh by the time I was graduating, I efforted, like, well, what do you guys have going on? You know what I mean? An overnight board operator or something. What could I do because I'm graduating from school and I need a job? But that didn't manifest. And I moved on, man. But
Wow.
it's one of those deals where you look at it now, like, could I, in a sense, still be in Pittsburgh if I hadn't gotten a job with Pittsburgh Radio somewhere?
You could have been you could have been the next Slide Jock. Remember him?
Man, listen, somebody needs to be the next Slide Jock, because that joker was garbage.
Hey, who you tell it? But that was the hottest thing going. You couldn't tell him. You couldn't tell nobody that Slide Jock wasn't the man.
You couldn't tell a burger.
Yeah.
You could tell other people. You couldn't tell a burger. They'd be ready to fight you.
Yeah,
Floyd Jock.
Yeah.
With the Pittsburgh accent, Floyd Jock.
Yeah.
He's the man. Like, no, he's not the man. No.
Oh, man.
He's garbage.
Yeah,
He's garbage.
But that's all we
That's
had.
what we
brother.
had. That's what we had.
And we didn't know any better at that time, right, bro? so.
We had that caveat.
Yeah.
We had whenever somebody would make a run to New York and bring back a tape.
Yeah. Now you know, Kay, we got to give a little shout out to Grant Hank, because he held it down on the dorms.
Oh,
yeah,
100%.
On campus.
100%.
We had Grant Hank on the campus.
Shout to Grant Hank. Shout to ICE.
Yes.
Lamont Granby.
Yes.
The Sigma. Shout to Al Dennis. He was kind of like the secret squirrel DJ, and he did a lot of the house stuff, but, he didn't get out there to the parties and whatnot, but he would have his room banging, man.
Gotcha.
Oh, my God. We'd be in that room going off. But, yeah, shout out to Don Young. All the cats that went out there and rocked the parties, man, and got us through them Saturday nights and all that. Of
man.
course, they all deserve props, man.
Yeah.
All day. Yeah.
So now you decide that Pittsburgh is not having you. You not having Pittsburgh. When do you move to MotorTrend?
Okay, well, let me give you the chronology, man.
There's
There's a lot to happen in that gap. I got out of Pitt, man, and the way opportunity goes, dude, and this is my whole career. The way opportunity goes, I learned about an intern program in New York City.
Okay.
With at CBS, at the CBS network.
Yes.
And the program was for college juniors and seniors. I was a graduating senior.
Yes.
I applied for the internship and sat with the director of the Northeast Bureau, CBS News Northeast Bureau. His name is Don DeCesare.
Okay.
A gentleman named Don DeCesare, who was University of Pitt alum.
Okay.
And I sat with Don. I explained my ambitions, that I wanted to do radio, hopefully program radio, and basically music radio and such. But Don, honestly, he heard or saw something in me based on that interview. I ended up getting the internship, and it was very limited number. I think it was like 12 interns. So You figure out of how many hundreds of kids that they took, they sat with and they listened to, I made the cut and got on. And it was in the news bureau, and I wasn't a fanatic of news. I really, through Pitt Communications, I didn't take journalism classes per se.
Gotcha.
I just took communication theory and such. But I'm in the news division, and I learned about news. I learned how news was produced and got to watch the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather come together. You know what I mean? That was my life during that summer and tape and all that kind of stuff, man. And then CBS, of course, also had radio, the network radio broadcasts every hour, a news broadcast. So went through the internship. And one of the things that I do share with young people, and I'll say this on your podcast, man, and I've been about this since that opportunity, never be afraid to, in a job environment or something like that, man, meet as many people as you can simply by asking them, who are you and what do you do?
Absolutely.
Who are you and what do you do?
Yes.
And not that anything immediate can happen for you, but just build your Rolodex. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Just always build your Rolodex. So I did that, spent the summer and actually did some pretty cool stuff as far as helping produce a couple of pieces that aired on the Rather Show and all that, man.
Okay.
So it was kind of cool. End of the summer comes and you had your juniors who were going back to school, and I was like, look, I don't have school to go back to or any kind of opportunity. Any kind of opportunities going on, you gave me a little taste of this, and I need to work. Bottom line.
Yes.
So that manifested into getting on with CBS News Radio. I got a job on the radio desk at the end of that summer. Started in September, and then worked on the desk and moved my way over to TV side. And by the time I finished at CBS, after 7 years there, I ended as a producer on the foreign desk CBS News.
What?
Yeah, I've done a lot of shit, Kevin. I mean, the thing is, we're unpacking stuff that people are probably saying just like you. What, KJ?
Yeah.
But I've said this about people I've listened to on your show.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I was saying what to everything Grant Hank said.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, what?
What? Like, what? And Arn, like, what? Get out of here.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, I'm not really about this and laying this all out there because I recognize my accomplishment, but I've never been anyone to gloat about my accomplishment. So therefore, people don't know a lot of this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah.
But part of the podcast, right, is for you, our guest, to share the unabridged version of who you are, and so
that's what this is.
And so maybe you won't celebrate you, but I'm going to celebrate you, and I'm going to make sure that when this comes out, the listening audience has the ability to celebrate you. This is all right, man. We take umbrage and pride in knowing that you're doing all this, man. This is fantastic. And so your voice and your experience becomes a hotbed as to other brothers and sisters that can tap into. Okay, here's someone who's done that at that level. Maybe I can build my Rolodex by asking him, who is he and what does he do? Just similar to what you would, right? So this is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Man.
Yeah. That's the title of my unwritten book, man. Whenever it comes out, just look for it at Barnes and Noble or something. You can't make this shit up, dude. By KJ Jones. Yes, sir.
No, I love it. Hey, listen, I'm after your wife. I'm second in line to get the book, brother. That's all right.
Yeah.
So you do go ahead, man. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I did CBS, and I got out of CBS News. There was an event, and that's the thing, man. Working on the foreign desk, I watched the world happen every day, every night. You know what I mean? And there was an event in I think it was like 88 or 89. The student conflict in Tiananmen Square, China.
Yes.
And just that, the work that we put into that, and just what was going on, it kind of affected me. Things that happen in our world, even today. I mean, even as recent as last weekend with Buffalo, unfortunately, man. That business makes you very grizzled. You know what I mean? Because you have to be objective. It's hard to have feelings in that game, man. But when that thing was going on, I was doing a lot of hours because it's nonstop. You're just getting elements, trying to move people around, get cameras and stuff to different locations. It was just really, really, really intense. And I put myself in the position of thinking like this. I was working alongside people who today, if I'd have stayed, I'd be in like my 30-something year. So I was working with people who had already been in that game that long. And I looked at them and I'm like, man, getting old too fast. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Getting old too fast. Is this really for you in the long, long haul? And I said, nah, it really isn't. And at that time, online was making its very, very infant steps where the online services were just coming into play. There was America Online, AOL, of course, and the Prodigy service, or Prodigy. Mm-hmm. And that was this new company that actually was a joint venture of CBS and Sears.
I remember
there were people that I worked with at CBS News were making this move to Prodigy. Yes. And people were even calling it, like, jokingly, like CBS North, because it was in White Plains, New York.
Gotcha.
So it was like, go up to CBS North, But I said, something, let me see what's cracking there. And a young lady that I had worked with at CBS Radio had made that move. I talked to her and said, hey, what's going on there? And she got me in touch with the news director, had an interview, and I got in working for the Prodigy newsroom, the Prodigy news team initially. So that got me into that. That got me into that company. And again, who are you and what do you do? And I have a communications degree, and I never really wanted to do news. I said, let me get into the corporate communications side of the company. So I moved into the member services area and became part of the corporate communications team. It was writing, basically was the voice of the CEO as far as communications. We were writing his stuff. you know what I mean, to the membership,
Wow.
to the employee base, and that type of thing. And I did my thing there, and we're getting close to California too. So
Yeah. No, take your time.
did my thing in that space, and I got plucked by a manager who knew me from the newsroom. He became a director in the new business ventures area. And part of the new business ventures area was Prodigy making alliances with newspapers all across the country, all over the country, bringing the newspaper online. And since I had the Prodigy newsroom experience, knew how we formatted, et cetera, and knew the process of taking content and creating it for the online service, myself and other people were dispatched all over the country to work with the actual newspaper staff that were coming in, that we had partnered with, that we were bringing online. And I mean, newspapers all over the country, dude. But one of them was producing the LA Times' online product. At the time, it was called TimesLink.
Yes.
TimesLink. So I was part of the team that brought TimesLink up, and that afforded me opportunities to come to LA, you know?
Wow. Wow, man. This is going to be a great book when this comes out, Kay. This is fantastic, man.
That was it, man. That was my shot to come to LA and see LA and experience LA. And I'm like, okay, all right. Yeah. Okay, all right, okay. And in that window, I met Crystal, who is my wife now.
Yes.
But I met Crystal, and that kind of worked out too, because, you know, you got me coming back and forth from LA, New York to LA.
Yes.
Over a course of 6 months, you know, we was like, man, this is see you for free?
Yeah.
3,000 miles away?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You know, so we were able to manifest the relationship for quite a while until that project launched. And then after that, you know, when you dig somebody enough and you want to see them and you want to be about them, then, you know, I had to foot for my trips and she had to foot. I footed for hers too to come east. But still, you know, we decided, hey, togetherness has to happen. And that's when I said, you know what? I can do a fresh start. Gotcha. I can come out to LA, and at this point in my life, you know what? I got all this communications experience. I want automotive industry experience. Wow. So let me just leave the job, which I did, declare to all my friends and loved ones, I'm moving to LA, and I'm getting married. And in July 1997, that's exactly what happened, and I've been here ever since.
And as they say, the rest is history. Wow,
the rest is history. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
Crazy,
but I got
man. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So you're in LA, and
I landed in LA, and I got to get a car job now. That was my ambition. There's nothing. Not gonna settle for anything else. Gotcha. And I got in the paper. Not even working online too much at that point. It was still a robust Sunday paper that had all the classifieds and all that. You remember that?
I remember that. Yeah.
So I'm in the Sunday paper looking for car type jobs, and there was an opening as a service advisor. Pardon me. At a Lincoln Mercury dealership not far from my house, and I went up there. And this is how this works, man. I went up there and I drove my Mustang because I brought my Mustang from back east, and it was high performance and all that. I drove my Mustang into the service driveway, and every technician in the shop came out.
Wow.
They heard this thing banging in the driveway and you know, what the hell? And I get out and you know, keep it 100. Here's this brother gets out. Here's his brother gets out, you know, and I'm need to see the service manager, saw this ad in the paper, blah, 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 and sat down with him, had a little resume prepared and all that, man. Yes. And dude's looking at it. He's like, well, like, why do you want this job? You know, because you are so far beyond overqualified, it's stupid, you know? Yeah. But I explained to him what my ambition was, and this is a way to get my foot in the door in automotive. And I come to find out when I did get the job, some of the guys, we got to be friends, the techs and all that stuff. We got to be buddies, and they were like, man, after you left, we told him, you got to hire that guy.
I see that car again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we got to all be a really cool and tight unit based on loving cars, man. We would all go racing together and have little track days or car shows or whatever. And I made some really good friends right away. But that was my entry into automotive, was through the dealership.
Wow, that's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. So listen, now the Mustang that you showed up with, you still have that?
No, my great car, man. I wish I did. I wish I did. And sadly, some of my car buddies, we talk about this quite a bit. You know, we're 50s and 60s and whatever have you, man. And one of the things as a car guy and enthusiast that's kind of popular now is getting back like either your first car or your most favorite car or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And mine, the gray car is gone. I've done little pseudo efforts to find it, but I've not been able to find it, and I have no idea where it is, man. But in my heart, I'm at that point now where it's like, man, I would love to have the gray car back, but I have no clue about its whereabouts or anything like that. But subsequently, over the course of being into Mustangs, I built two pretty special cars. One for my wife and then my 86 Mustang, and they're very special. They've both been highly accolades and all that through shows and media coverage and all that kind of stuff. So thankfully I still have those.
Got you. So what is next for KJ? Because I know that you're doing you've got, you know, I don't know if we can say it now, but you got a little entrepreneurial side hustle. What is that now?
Oh yeah, man. Well, this is something that goes back to before I left New York and kind of manifested when I got here to LA and being in the Mustang hobby. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
In that space, parts are of value.
Yes.
People that are working on cars and stuff might be looking for a part or might need something, as I did when I was building Mustangs and messing around with them. So a long time back, I kind of got into parts procurement or being able to be the guy that could get something. I don't know if you remember this, man, or people listening, because it's OG, but way back in the day, there was a TV show. It was called McHale's Navy. It was like a black and white show.
Yeah, I remember
called
that.
McHale's Navy.
I remember that. Yeah,
and it was a spinoff from a movie, and one of the characters basically in the movie was Ensign Pulver.
Yes.
And Ensign Pulver was the dude who could get anything. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They're in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, you know, and Ensign Pulver is able to get the most expensive caviar known to man. You know, like, how did you do that? You know? And I kind of became like an Ensign Pulverish type of person in the Mustang space and in the parts procurement space. If you needed it, somehow, some way, KJ could get it. You know what I mean? And just has the business acumen to like, yeah, I can get it. And, you know, it is what it is. But then again, I'm going to need mine too. You know what I'm saying? It actually proved to be fairly lucrative. So that was kind of a hustle. And I've had a transport business when I had my van and my trailer, where people that want to get to the racetrack with their car, they got a car and they want to go racing, but they don't have a trailer to take it to the track. Well, I'll take you to the track and back, but you're going to pay me. You know, this is what it's going to be. So I've always had that kind of entrepreneurial dip to myself. And that still happens not as frequently as it did. But that's partially because the internet and your Craigslist and your all these marketplaces and stuff have kind of eliminated that middleman who was me. You know what I'm saying? But I still here and there, especially with some of my stuff, man, because this junction, the longevity that I've had, I got a shop full of stuff that I can go in my shop now and find stuff that I have really no recollect of. And at this point, man, some of it needs to go.
But I want you to think about bringing that back out, because, you know, here I am. I'm old cat, right? Even though I can get that part online, I still love dealing with a voice, a live person. So I would call you and say, listen, I've got a 19 so-and-so Mustang. I need a part for this. What do you think? And based on your credibility, I would allow you to sell me that part, as opposed to going online and looking at the number and saying, that number goes to this number, I need that part. And you pay and they ship it to you and find out it's the wrong part. I should have had someone talk me through
Right.
that. So I think that.
Oh yeah, I'm still there to do it. It's
good.
a matter of still there to do it, and that does happen.
Yes.
Kind of more with a select crowd, because
Yes,
one
sir.
of the things about the buy and sell space, and I don't care if it's Mustang parts or whatever. One of the things about the buy and sell space is that people will try to at any cost take your kneecaps out as far as that price negotiation and stuff. So and sadly, you get to a point where you don't even want to deal with people.
Yeah.
It's a catch-22. You have this and you don't want it anymore. You want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But you don't want to deal with people.
Yes.
So it's funny, man. But I still do have that spirit in me, and there are opportunities where it's more of a keep my feelers out and my antenna up, basically.
Yeah.
And somebody hit me like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, I got one of those. Or I know where we can get one or something like that. But it's not on a broadcast, I'm the guy for it anymore. Like Ensign Pulver is under wraps.
Yeah.
But he can spring out at any time.
Anytime. Now, Kate, let me ask this question, right? So, and I think I might have asked this to you in the beginning. We're looking at a crystal ball. 5 years from now, what are you doing 5 years from now?
Man, listen. 5 years from now, if the math works out, every day is going to be Saturday, bro.
Got you.
So if the math works out, every day will be Saturday. KJ, what you doing? Nothing. And I'm good at it.
Got you. So you're saying you're ready to retire at that time?
I you know what, man? It's crazy that I can earnestly say, yeah.
Gotcha.
And it's crazy because 5 years before,
yes,
I wasn't really fathoming retirement.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? It's
Yes.
almost like a switch was clicked. And honestly, when you look at the really big picture, man, look at the really big picture. I've been working since I'm 16 years old, man.
Understood.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Doing something, earning my keep and working, and in some capacities, busting my ass too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
For a long, long, long time. Now, the real tricky part of this is that times have changed in our world to such a great extent that retirement for us isn't the same as retirement for our OGs. My dad and my mom, where you busted your ass, you put in your time, but your investment and such, and the way companies looked out for you through retirement packages.
Yes.
You theoretically were okay and set for the proverbial rest of your life or whatever have you.
Yes.
Now, quite honestly, man, and again, it's like if the math works out, you have to really have your math in place to retire at a 65, which what we were taught was the time when you do it. But we have colleagues, both of us, everybody in our space, man, is blazing past 65 because we have to. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because we have to. So it's kind of a disheartening and sad thing, and I really don't want to. Like I said, my mentality is I'm ready to be done. Gotcha. And in being done, we can go back to entrepreneurial then, man. And being done, no, not sitting on the couch and be a schlub. I'm not built for that. I can't do that. Mm-hmm. But really do whatever it is I want to do, and hopefully that can bring a few coins in here. Gotcha. But I don't want it to be the coins that I need to live on. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I want those to be support coins. I need support coins that I could say, if I want to just buy something, I can buy.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to put this in your ear. I think that with your knowledge, man, and the space that you're occupying, man, I'm thinking, online, something live once a week, every other day, man, because your knowledge is like crazy. And
thank you, man.
Now let me stop you and let me ask this question, right? What would it look like, right, if we had tapped into, say, the automotive classes that take place in the high schools, right? If those brothers and sisters would talk to you once a week, can you imagine the trajectory?
It'd be off and running, dude. It's been off and running a long time, but sadly, due to economics and such, man, a school with an automotive program today is a holy grail, man.
Yeah.
It's a holy grail because a lot of that in the public schools, the money washed up, or they're just put the money in other places, and those programs aren't supported, man. So the kids aren't as fortunate as, I was with having, a real robust auto shop program. And if you applied yourself, you could really do some good things through those shop programs. But now it's limited. There's a Hot Rodders of Tomorrow organization, but that's it's nationwide. But I don't know if that's in a lot of schools. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So that kind of makes me a little bit sad that there aren't those outlets for young people now. But going back to what I said earlier, especially in the media area of it, man, and this would be for anybody, even if somebody wanted to get into radio or whatever, you can do this yourself today, because the internet is the tool to do it with.
Absolutely. But I'm just saying, man, I'm putting that in your ear. I would love to see some type of, once a week Zoom, with KJ, and you're talking to the black and brown students, in VOTEC or the auto industry, classes, just to kind of get them excited as to the steps that you've taken, but where you are today. That would be inspirational, to say the least, man. Because I mean, bruh, I follow you on, listen to me. I follow you. I'm not stalking you. I follow you. and man, you are so full of wisdom. I'm like, I've never met a brother with this kind of information, man. Right? You are.
Thank you, man.
Beyond knowledgeable when it comes to what you do. And like we said earlier, you're occupying a space that many black and brown folks don't occupy, right?
No, we just don't, man. There's so many of those fly me outs that I referenced earlier and media events, not to put any kind of downer on the discussion, but I feel like, hey, man, let me share this part of it also. Yeah. There's the quote unquote glitz and glamour of that, but I've also been in situations, being the only person of color at a media event, a manufacturer's event and such, where, things have been not for nothing, kind of uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Gotcha,
One of the things where my wife and I, in our nightly discussion, if I'm on the road or something like that, especially at an event, I'm like, yep, it's just me, and it's just me. And she knows what that means. But I've been, areas of the South, man, where it's like, okay, this event ends at such and such a time, and now I got to hustle through these woods, but not necessarily hustle through these woods because, if I'm hustling through these woods, that might make me a target to be stopped in these woods.
Even
you know
faster,
what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it's real situations. I go around the country, and some of these places are certainly not welcoming to me. And I have to really think about how a lot of things can play out, man. That's been throughout my career with traveling, but one that was just really kind of like, man, take a deep breath, KJ. Just take a deep breath. We were at an event, and it was held at this resort. Very nice, big money deal, etc. And it was cocktail hour, a little social thing, and blah, blah, blah. And one side of it is the pride in other people like me and you at those establishments who see me doing my thing. And it's like, go ahead, bro. You know what I mean? And I'm like, something? Y'all on this ride with me. That's how I move. Gotcha. Everybody's on this ride with me because I'm out here representing all of us. Gotcha. But the other side of it is at the social event, etc. I had a white colleague that I didn't really know. He was just another member of the media there. I didn't really know him, but he turns at me and asked me, because he thought I was the quote unquote help, could I go get him a gin and tonic? Get you a fucking gin and tonic. Are you kidding me right now, buddy? Are you woo? Let me woo-saw 1,000 times right quick.
Yeah.
Let me woo-saw 1,000 times right quick, because this could really get bad right now, and just had to figure out a way to say, like, look, man, I'm not Joffrey. You know what I'm saying? I'm not Joffrey, Duke. Not me. I'm with you, and that's fueling my fire to take whatever you put together and just stumble all over it was what I put together.
Got you.
You know,
Yeah. Got
you know, just make myself better. Yeah,
but I'm glad, Kay, in this space you are representing yourself well and you're representing us well. And I want more people. Listen, we've got to find a way to get people to listen to this episode, man, because this is solid. This interview has been inspirational, but it has been like mind-boggling and mind-opening. Because first of all, I didn't know this about you, but more importantly, where you are, and again, I have to keep saying the space that you're occupying, man. I don't know any brother that's with MotorTrend that's in charge of content, and you get to do what you do. But you see us buy the cars, you see us buy the trucks every day, but we're not where you are, right? You know, where you're giving the reviews. Like, wow, that's
thanks,
crazy.
man. Yeah,
man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
That's me. That is me for a long time now, man. And I'm thankful for it. But again, and especially, man, for all the young folks that are checking this out, man.
Yes.
You know, nothing. My position is nothing is theoretically nothing is given to you. Somebody might give you something, if you will, but man, you're better served working for it and going and getting it, you know, versus sitting back and waiting on us to do whatever due diligence that's necessary to work towards where you want to be. Because collectively, and I did say that I've been fortunate and I've right place, right time, no question. Know some people who know some people, no question. But within all of that, man, I couldn't sit here and talk to you and talk to your audience and say, you know, I didn't put in work. That'd be a bold-faced lie.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That'd be a bold-faced lie. So that's really how it all happened, how it's all come together. It's still in progress. You know, they still look at me within the company as one of the good guys, or you know, one of the good guys to do it, and I appreciate that. You know, and I don't want to tarnish that either. You know, it's almost like your name. You know, and in this case, it is my name in this space, in this business. It is my name. So I certainly don't want to, at this point, do anything to damage it or disrupt it, man. So I just keep doing my thing, man. I'm a guy doing a job.
No, Kay, you're doing it well, man. I'm so excited, so proud of you, man. But listen, let me just back up for a second and ask this question. So, in your journey, what motivation kept you going? How did you stay motivated?
That's a great question. I guess a couple of things. My number one motivation at this point in life and for the last 25 years, my number one motivation has been my wife. You know, just maintaining our relationship, maintaining our lifestyle, and I don't mean by way of lifestyle financially, you know, or from a material standpoint, because, you know, we're not rich and ostentatious and gaudy and all that. Like I said, I've had vehicles at my house that cost more than my house. Yeah. You know, supporting and maintaining that, because that, I'll have to share, has just been marvelous. You know, I was the guy in our crew, in our group, age-wise, you know, I don't know if the married thing is going to even happen. You know what I mean? And really was getting comfortable with it, but the right person did come into my life, and dedication to staying with that right person, and seeing that person, Crystal, is also equally as dedicated to staying with me. You know, people have commented about that through the social media stuff that we share. And it's like, KJ, you and your wife are always smiling, as you're always doing. I said, we just have fun and we're good at it. We're good at having fun. You know what I mean? We're just really good at that, and we enjoy each other. So that has been, I guess you could say, a primary motivation.
That's another book, okay? That's another book right there.
Yeah.
Shoot, right?
Yeah. The other one has been something that was instilled by the OG, my dad, and by the OOG, his dad, my grandfather, is that, you know, you'll work hard for honesty. You'll work hard for your integrity. Don't ever be afraid to work hard. And I guess whenever stuff might be bad or as bad as you think it is or whatever,
Yes.
that kicks into my head. Like, man, just keep going, because the only way something can be quote unquote that bad is if you're not here.
Yes.
That's that bad.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If you're able to keep going, just keep going, man.
Got you.
Yeah.
But I love what you just said. Work hard for your honesty. Work hard for your integrity. Wow, I love it.
Absolutely, got to. You got to. You got to, because we've seen people that don't. We've all seen people whose integrity is shot. I can close, when you say close your eyes and see something.
Yeah.
I can close my eyes and see people who I will always have my back to now.
Yes.
For various reasons.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Because they've blown their integrity with me for whatever reasons they thought to. It happened.
Gotcha.
And as the popular term goes, for whatever reasons, you're dead to me. There's no crawling back from it, or you're just dead to me. So that's based on integrity. I don't want that. I don't want to be the guy that somebody's thinking that way about. Yes. But we do know that people can think that way, because I do, about some people. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. So with the final time that we have left, I'm going to open the platform up to you. Anything else you want to share with us, bro?
Man, I just want to share my thanks to you and the Entrepreneurial Enclave.
Yes.
And I also want to share, I really want to take this moment to share my salutations and love and best wishes to everybody that we've taken the University of Pittsburgh ride with.
Yes.
That's just sadly, thankfully and sadly. Thankfully, through social media, there are connections that have been made.
Yes.
And there's keeping in touch. And one of the things, quite honestly, man, my gig with the travel and all, I've had several opportunities to link with classmates in various cities all over the country.
Yes.
And I've shared that on social media. Whenever I get with somebody in their city or have an opportunity, it's like, okay, let's take this selfie, and it gets posted, because, like, man, it's just a wonderful hour or 2 hours or whatever, have a dinner or whatever with someone who is very dear to me based on our experience at Pitt. So I want to definitely give that shout out to everyone. And you've listened to me for now more than an hour, and my job still does get me all over the country. So through Facebook or something, let me know where you are, and if there's opportunity for us to get together and break bread, and if it's an event that I'm at, come out to the event. There's always time if I'm working at an event to, just get a few minutes, or if it's something like, for example, Mecum Auction in Houston. I went back to Houston for Mecum Auction because, of course, family's there and all that kind of stuff, man. And my brothers came to the auction, straight, cool. Here's your badge and all. It was like so cool, man. We had a great afternoon, and they got to see what I do in person. So that was really kind of neat. So just let's try to link if we can, Pitt folks, and just be well and be blessed. Hail to Pitt all damn day. And if you care to follow or see what I'm up to, I guess the express route is to Google me. Okay. that still messes me up. Google me, or dial up motortrend.com or trucktrend.com, one word, TRUCKTREND.com, and you can put in the search KJ Jones, or if you just go through the website and look at the various articles, you'll see my byline and see what I write about. And there's some video stuff on there. And through MotorTrend Plus, there's also the original MotorTrend Plus shows, Hoopty World Championship and Holiday Hoopty Challenge that I was on. So yeah, I've even done TV with this gig, man. Excellent. But that's a whole another animal.
That's a whole nother episode, though, bro. That's a whole nother episode. Yeah. We're gonna have to bring you back, brother. Man, I'm having a blast. Yeah.
Thank you, Kevin, and you keep doing your thing, because you've had some really engaging discussions and folks on, and Pitt folks, our family, that, like you said earlier, you had no fathom this person was going to end up doing that.
None whatsoever.
No fathom at all. But again, we come from greatness. That I'll clarify it this way and make it final. We come from greatness that is being a black student at the University of Pittsburgh between 1981 and 1987.
Yes.
Period.
Yes, sir. KJ, you have been fantastic, brother. I can't thank you enough, but let's you and I stay connected, right?
Oh, for sure, man. No doubt, Kev.
And then you and I will we'll talk and text later on, man.
Okay, buddy. Thank you so much.
All right, talk in a minute, brother. Peace.
Later.
Yes, sir. Hey, K.
That concludes another episode of The Entrepreneurial Enclave with Kevin Wortham, the podcast that focuses on building, maintaining, pivoting, planning, and investing in you, the entrepreneur. We hope you found this episode informative and enlightening. If you have any questions or comments about any of our episodes, please call 609-731-9311 or email kevin@minding-our-business.com. We look forward to joining us for our next one. Until next time.